Program is being brought to you on the World Talk Radio Network. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit worldtalkradio.com. The World Talk Radio Network, where the world comes to talk. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the World Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Never give up, never give in. The ones who will work are the ones who will win. The impossible, answer the call. Go for your everything, give it your all. Be the star you are. The star you are. Be the star you are.
Get ready to be inspired, informed, motivated, and recharged on radio's favorite power hour, Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with your hosts Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany. Every day is a stellar day on Star Style, Be the Star You Are. Let's get this party started. Cynthia will be back to kick it all off after this break. The World Talk Radio Variety Channel. Are you living your dreams? Want to create a life you love but don't know how to begin? Lifestyle coach and personal growth expert Cynthia Bryan has jump-started the lives and careers of clients for over 2 decades with her signature Star Style consultations with personalized sessions by phone or in person. You'll turn your passions into profits. Visit www.cynthiabryan.com or call 925-377-STAR. That's cynthiabryan.com or call 925-377-7827. Cynthia Bryan is your guide on the side. www.cynthiabryan.com. You can be the star you are. The World Talk Radio Variety Channel, where the world comes to talk. You're listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with hosts Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany. Be the Star You Are is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation to improve literacy and positive media. All contributions and donations are tax deductible. To comment on today's show, please call in toll-free at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. Or send an email to info@bethestaryouare.org. Now back to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with the Oprah of the airwaves, Cynthia Bryan.
Be the star you are.
Well, hello, Power Partners, and happy holidays. Welcome to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, a positive talk show that will help you be the best person you can possibly be. I am Cynthia Bryan.
And I'm Heather Brittany.
And we are here with you today to help you celebrate in a tradition that will make you sparkle and shine. We are going to be talking about what are holiday traditions in our first segment. What are the things that you do with your family and friends? In our second segment and the third segment, we're going to be looking at infidelities. Well, you know, with Tiger Woods all over the news, it's kind of apropos to do a show on cheating and how to find the right man or woman. So we are going to be talking with Charles Hughes about how to get a man that doesn't cheat, and also Dr. Ish Major with Little White Wise. So we want you to learn to love and be loved this holiday season and enjoy a true relationship with equality. The miracle moment for today is brought to you by the Carmony Collection, handmade handbags and candles and hair ornaments that are recycled baubles and beads. For more information, you can visit myspace.com/Carmony Clutches. That's Carmony with a K and Clutches with a K, or go to CarmonyCollection.com, both with a K. And this is actually a bumper sticker. The miracle moment is a bumper sticker. And it is, we are just too blessed to be stressed. And isn't that the truth, Heather? During the holiday season, we got to realize our blessings.
Most definitely.
Well, we're going to start right off in this segment and talk about, first of all, the traditions that you all celebrate around the holidays. So let's talk about Christmas. I mean, while we are sitting here, Heather and I are looking at each other. We've got a fire burning, and we are drinking hot.
Stockings are hung with care.
Yes, and we are drinking hot mulled wine. So we hope that you are doing something like that too. But what is it about Christmas that has historic links? And many people don't know that it was really linked to the Roman festival of the winter solstice, and that is our feast of Christmas. It came from actually pagan observances, and then it was Christianized, and the first mention of the celebration of the Nativity in a liturgical calendar appears actually in the 4th century, and that was the baptism of the pagan festival of the invincible sun, or the Sol Invictus, as an observance was introduced in 274 by the Emperor Aurelius. And then it was celebrated in Rome on December 25th, which is the winter solstice. The Son of Justice came as the light of the world to vanquish darkness and to triumph over sin and death. And this was one of the this is one of the writings. So you can see that Christianity took the winter solstice, which was observed in Egypt and in Arabia, and developed it into the feast of the Epiphany, and it became a major feast in the East. Well, Heather, you have started doing some research.
Exactly. And, because for us, every holiday, every day of your life is always a personal thing. And here, I know my family, our family, we have very unique and very personalized traditions, and that's why they become traditions, because they are singularized only to you. But it was so interesting observing what my friends do, as well as just as my research for this. And it was really great that you brought up the solace to start off with, because as our society, as we seem to grow, we kind of have gotten more hypersensitive, and more that when I was going to school as an elementary child, it used to be called the Christmas party or an Easter party. But nowadays, because that's singling out one particular religion, we call them a holiday party. And a friend of mine actually recently had a solace party, the winter solace party on December 21st, and that was actually, his holiday / Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, to be non-denominational, to just say...
That was really a great idea to have a winter solstice. I like that.
It was a cute way of just saying, come celebrate the holiday season with us. But speaking, I want to cover here some of, the religious thing, all that great, is, okay, why do, calling it Christmas? Well, actually, the meaning of Christmas is Mass of Christ, bringing to the fact of Christianity, is that Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, it's the birth of Christ, Jesus Christ. So if you follow in the Christianity religion, that's very big. Bringing to Santa Claus, the origins of Santa Claus. That was actually St. Nicholas. He was the bishop of Myra, which in Myra is today is present-day Turkey. And the thing with him is as we've gone, as she knows as a writer and just as stories in life, how things seem to get translated, go from fact to kind of stretch out to things become legend to a tale, is this man, which became a saint, was that he was a very sweet and giving individual, but he specialized was giving to the poor and especially to the children. And as legend grew on, as that it came with Santa Claus, that he was the saint, St. Nicholas, of giving to children. One thing too about the infamous stockings relating to Christmas stockings. There's another legend as well that relates to St. Nicholas as well of why we have the stockings and why we put such fun little goodies with it. So, according to legend, this nobleman grew. There was this individual, this man, that he was very foolish with his money, and he wasted away all of his money. And back in this time of day, women, when they were in a sense married off, they were given a dowry. That it was. You would give a husband a sense of, if you're going to be taking this daughter off my hands, I'm going to be giving you my goat. And
well, because women were not valued, number one. Women were just considered chattel, which was money. That was it.
Exactly. So people had to spice it up by saying, if you're taking this burden of a daughter off of me, I have to give you something. But this man, he had spent away all his money, so he had 3 daughters who now had no dowry. And in that day, if you had nothing else than this amazing woman to offer, they would become spinsters. They would just become these little old ladies. And hearing of this, as legend goes, that St. Nicholas heard of this and wanting to be a giving man and wanting to stay anonymous as not being known for his good things, he threw three satchels full of gold coins, worth in those days maybe hundreds to $1,000 or so. He threw it down their chimney, and they had been drying their stockings, just their lady stockings by the fire, and when he threw it down the chimney, they magically fell into the stockings. And that's how legend became of, putting goodies into the stockings.
Well, and before you go on there, you should really say that supposedly it is a legend, but it is supposedly true that this man, Nicholas, did exist and that did live, and that he really did care that women wouldn't have this dowry, and he was very wealthy. He never expected to become, this Saint Nick, but that is supposedly in all different religions and all different countries. They do celebrate Saint Nick's. I know that when I lived in Holland, we celebrated it the beginning of December. I think it was December 6th. Is the feast day of St. Nicholas, and that's actually when you gave presents to one another, not on Christmas. So every country does have a different tradition there.
And that's really interesting, too, for people out there. If you've ever looked, if you buy, any kind of calendar usually, there's always in small print on a certain day random little things. If you've ever looked sometimes, you kind of go, what, Canadian Box Day? Or something. But they have different holidays that we celebrate in America on different days, which is interesting. So I would love to look into the international history of things. But two things I found really interesting when I was trying to come up with, looking into traditions of things that, for me, I was a product of the 80s, but I always just assumed that stories and legends have been around forever. But the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer didn't originate until 1939, and it kind of had a really corporate beginning. Was that Montgomery Ward, which unfortunately in recent economic times has gone out of business. But of those of you that are aware of that store,
I remember Montgomery Ward. They had a catalog, and growing up on the farm, Sears and Montgomery Wards were the only things we could order.
Exactly, and I even as a kid, I believe it's just in the last 10 years they were sold out and bought it, because I even remember it as a kid. But anyways, Montgomery Ward was this department store. If any of you aren't familiar with it, they had every year they were really big in the purchasing and distributing of coloring books for kids, and especially at Christmas time. And in a way, because it was during a wartime in 1939 and trying to save on money, because as a lot of people know, a lot of things needed to go towards the war. In a way to save money, they had one of the people that worked from them, a man by the name of Robert L. May, write a story for him. They said, write a story for them saying, we want to create a new coloring book, make a story with it, create us a story, save us some money so we don't have to go through an outside source. So his inspiration, he drew from the story of the ugly duckling, in part with his own experiences of being taunted as a kid. He's been described, he said that he felt as a kid, he was small and frail and kind of felt like, the misfit on the schoolyard. And that was the story of the ugly duckling. And to kind of create it into a Christmas tale, he created Rudolph, as this kid that's got, this little deer that has so much, that wants to be the best, but everyone, looks at the things that make him different as an outcast. And as we all know, the story is the end is he becomes the hero. He's the one that saves the day. But in this time, it's so crazy to think about that when it came out, even during there was this crazy paper shortage, 2.4 million copies were handed out that year. And despite the paper shortage, more than 6 million copies were distributed until the year 1946, which was just...
and so that's how Rudolph... I never knew that story.
Yeah, which is insane, because I thought it was forever. And one thing also, too, is Kwanzaa. No one ever talks about Kwanzaa. And something amazing with that is that the tradition of it actually didn't start until 1966. And actually, I recently read something that here in America they're saying that the tradition of it is starting to phase out. Because it wasn't a historical, something that's been around for thousands or hundreds of years. It was actually started by a professor at California State University, Long Beach, to create a Kwanzaa to kind of celebrate the African American culture, to celebrate where they are now of being such, being an immigrant here to America and what they've achieved. And as we've known since the 60s, the plight of Martin Luther King and just how much as individuals we've overcome as race and what they've become, just kind of celebrating everything from their home country to what they've created here in America now. But as we've kind of discussed in different things, is how traditions have kind of phased out in certain things. I remember, as a kid, we'd always go to. For us, we growing up in a Christianity thing, as though we have to kind of separate that, is that traditions have become more commercialized here in America, unfortunately. The religious things of it, or just in general, kids are losing the belief of things, or things money or tight. People associate Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these kind of holiday things as something of gift giving. And though during Hanukkah or during Christmas, it is a time to give gifts. I think the greatest gift, especially in this economic situation now, is just to give the gift of time, of spend time with your family, cooking a dinner together, talking. For us, one of our biggest traditions is we always watch old home videos. Now, they don't
This
have
is like the most fun thing.
Yeah.
This is just so great, because when do you ever watch those videos, unless you make a time for it? So we have always done the Christmas Eve is the time that, we do the big bouillabaisse or cioppino or crab or whatever, and we all sit around and we laugh so hard we can't believe the hairstyles. We can't believe the colors, that we wore, or the little tiny voices of the kids, or, it's just amazing. It's a really fun tradition.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's what I was getting to, is that, for us, it's always so special to have our own personalized traditions. Now, some of my friends, their traditions are that, they open a gift on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Eve they spend it with one part of the family, and Christmas Day they spend it with another. Or, some of my friends, they always go away on a trip. They do not want to be home during Christmas. That's what always makes the holidays so special. And I think for a lot of people, as you get married, or if you're unable to go home, you celebrate it with a friend or, some kind of companion to kind of observe other people's celebrations of things. I've got to experience different people's Christmases as well as Thanksgiving, and it's so fascinating to me because when you grow up one way observing it, you think this is all that must exist, and it's so exciting and such a fun learning process to see it as other people and just...
Well, absolutely. And Heather, we're already out of time on our Christmas traditions or holiday traditions, so please give the website.
Most definitely. Speaking, it's not too late to give the great gift of literacy, so please, or taxes are coming up soon, give yourself a great tax write-off. Donate to Be the Star You Are. So go to BeTheStarYouAre.com, BeTheStarYouAre.org. Also, stock those stuffings with a Carmony Clutch. Go to MySpace.com/Carmony Clutches, both with a K.
Well, when we come back from break, you're going to find out that chivalry is not dead. Charles Hughes will talk about loving a woman and being a great man when we return on this wonderful holiday traditional celebration. I am Cynthia Bryan.
And I'm Heather Ray.
And this is Star Style. Be the star you are. Don't go away. You don't want to miss it.
The World Talk Radio Variety Channel. Apathy, violence, and negative messages are everyday occurrences in our country. You can be a changemaker when you dare to care by supporting Be the Star You Are charity, a 501c3 that empowers women, families, and youth through improved literacy, positive media, and tools for living. Visit www.BeTheStarYouAre.org to find out how you can make a difference in our world. Everyone counts. That web address again is www.BeTheStarYouAre.org. BeTheStarYouAre.org. Are you wondering how to jumpstart your life while bringing more excitement and joy into every moment? Join the Goddess Gals, the mother-daughter dynamic duo, Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany, each week on radio's favorite power hour, Star Style. Be the star you are. You'll hear from the experts and authors that inspire and motivate you to be your greatest unique self. Plus, in Tea for Two, a mother-daughter brew, Cynthia and Heather tackle the topics and tips that make a difference. Listen every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on World Talk Radio, Studio A. the World Talk Radio Variety Channel, where the world comes to listen and talk. You're listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with hosts Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany. Be the Star You Are is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation to improve literacy and positive media. All contributions and donations are tax deductible. To comment on today's show, please call in toll-free at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. Or send an email to info@bethestaryouare.org. Now back to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with the Oprah of the airwaves, Cynthia Bryan.
Be the star you are.
Well, thank you for staying with us. I am Cynthia Bryan, and you're listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, on this wonderful traditional holiday day. We hope you are having a great one. Every week here at Be the Star You Are, we bring you the authors and the experts that can expand your life and help you live fuller, living, loving, laughing, learning, and leading. Well, when Charles Hughes wrote his book, he wrote it because he's living it. His book is How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat. And what we want for you for the New Year's is to be able to live in love. Charles is with us now. Welcome, Charles, to Star Style, Be the Star You Are.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know that you have a really busy schedule, and this was not easy for you to come today, so we really do appreciate it. Now, you really have a message for people out there, and, you know, today it's very apropos that we be speaking with you because the news is filled with, you know, the sadness that of infidelities with Tiger Woods' escapades, etc. But what your book, How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat, is about is that there needs to be a way for women to have help when they're entering a relationship to know that a man is true, that a man is going to be there for them. Tell us about your experiences. I know you're madly in love with your wife and what you want us to know about your book, How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat.
Yes. Thank you again for having me. What I want the women of the world to know is that it is truly possible to have a man that doesn't cheat. I was explaining before, when I originally wrote my book, I thought I would try to change a man, but there's no time for that, arguing and changing a man. You have to see what's in a man before you have any strings attached. And I believe the experts say communication is key, but when I say communication, I literally mean communicate about everything. Where there's no strings attached, a person you might see as someone you see as a brother, someone you might see, I don't see him that way, it might be the perfect one. See, in my mind, I think dating leads down to the wrong path because dating, it seems fake and it seems to be putting on your best shoe, your best foot forward.
Well, you know, if you don't date and and how do you be truthful? Because I know you're very emphatic about telling the truth, being honest, being who you are, and not putting on airs at all. So how do you just be authentic and be your best self when you don't know that person?
Right. If you're interested in someone, you should just get to know them. See, you have to go way back and revert. It's like we do with AOL. You want to go back to DOS. You want to go back to low-level, old-fashioned situations. Example, when you're interested in somebody, let the man come to you. When you start seeing him, don't call it a date. Don't think of it as a date. It'll be too rushed. It'll be too obvious, too pressured. Just get to know each other. And actually, through the phone, you can know each other and you can talk more over the phone than just dating because everything is like a worldly, societal procedure, and it doesn't help you. That's why there's a lot of doubt because anyone can do these things. Anyone can behave on a date.
Well, you know, Charles, you said something that I found very, very interesting in your book, and that is that especially guys, and I imagine women are guilty of the same thing because I work with a lot of young people and I see this all the time, is that more people are spending time on the phone or interacting with their peers as opposed to the person that they would like to be in a relationship with, or that they, that somebody that could really love them and that they could be part of that. So how do you do that? I mean, what is the key? Is it that you get in touch with people on a regular basis? When I say people, I mean the person that you're very much interested in. Because I was talking to a girl recently who said, gosh, she had met this really great guy, but then they seem to have a lot of talking and communication and seeing each other and talking on the phone for 2 or 3 days, but then he'll go a week and he won't call, and that sends doubts in her mind. Does he really care? Who is he? So what's your advice for that?
Oh, yes. See, any situation that's going to turn bad in the future always has signs. Now, you just said that he doesn't call. There should be no reason for him not calling. See, if you go out with a person with no strings attached, you would just be yourself. And it has to be unconditional caring for the person. Two people that are beginning, it should just be two people. It shouldn't be a whole crowd. They have to really get to know each other slowly. And they just have to talk and keep their minds on the positive. Don't go to the obvious intimacy and things that will cause destruction in the future. It's like being intimate too fast. It's like driving fast. You might get from point A to point B, but you most likely will wreck, and then you won't have any good travels. You won't survive. In my book, I show a woman how to have a man that doesn't cheat for good, not temporary. If she really wants a relationship, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. My book is kind of like a magnifying glass that nobody believes in. It's like a fairy tale magnifying glass, but it is real. If you really have been cheated on, it's a devastating thing. And there's no excuse of saying all men cheat. It doesn't matter if all men cheat. That's not a true statement. You have to speak positive and think positive.
Well, we're talking to Charles Hughes, and his book is called How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat. And as you can tell from what he's saying right now, he cares deeply about women. He doesn't want them to be hurt. And he also cares about men, and he really believes that we can all live very dignified and happy lives if we stay on the tried and true. Now, one of the things you talk about in your book is communicating vertically versus horizontally. What do you mean? I know you speak in metaphors. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am a metaphoric speaker. Speaking vertically means two people standing up, get to know each other, instead of speaking with the body, which is horizontally. That means getting in bed, doing the obvious things that don't grab any kind of quality in a relationship. It's like ice cream and cake. It's delicious, but it's not really healthy for you. It doesn't give you the nutrition you need. In other words, when you communicate vertically, you're speaking about the positive things, about unconditional love, building a life together, not just having sex very quickly, which the flesh wants it, but you just have to fight that. That is the number one thing that would cause cheating. It's like, I'll give you an example. You have a child that's singing in a play. To your ears, that child sounds the best because that is your child. When you are dating or going out with a person, when you focus on them, they are the best. And then you begin to get that unconditional feeling for the person, whether you want to call it love or anything. You get that unconditional feeling, and you know that this is the one for you, because the one for a person, which is a soulmate, that is developed. That cannot be found or picked. You have to develop that. And when you really get that unconditional caring, when there's dark hours, when nobody's looking, when you have availability to cheat, you won't do it because you are focused on that person so much that they're ingrained in your emotions, in your mind, in your heart, and in your temperament, So when you see somebody and it's just superficial, it doesn't mean anything, Well,
that brings me to a question, and I don't know if you have the answer to this, but I'm sure you have a philosophical answer in one way or another, or an answer from life experience or from people that you've met or worked with. And that is, why do guys cheat in the first place? Why is it that, and when I say guys, I don't mean that only guys do, because women do too. But why is it that if someone is in a supposedly monogamous relationship, and they get the temptation, they're in Vegas or they're out with the guys, and they have some lap dancer come in, why is it that they decide that they're going to cheat when they've got that wonderful woman at home?
Right. Well, I'll put it like this. Cheating is like driving a car. If you're a bad driver, you're going to drive all over the place and crash. But if you know how to control your drive, which is your sex drive. You keep it within the proper person who you're with. You keep your train on the track. See, desire...
Oh, I like that. You keep your train on the track. That's perfect coming from you.
Desire does not go away. And it's not a bad thing. It's how you behave from it. You know, if you communicate about different things and temptations you go through, those desires will die away, and then you will stay. See, cheating is easy to do. And also, believe it or not cheating is very easy to do. It's a decision. You know, if you love someone, you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to stray, even though you might not feel it as a man, but you have to look on the other person's, you know, see the shoe on the other foot. You have to see life from their perspective. When you get to know people, your mind opens, and you see life through your partner. You just
well, and also I think that, you know, it's a matter of integrity, isn't it? I mean, when you really care for someone, you don't want to hurt them. You don't want them to suffer. And if you were to cheat on the person that you have proclaimed your love for, that's very, very hurtful. And then once trust is gone, I'm not so sure you can build it back up.
Yeah, it's like a broken spine. It'll take an extreme miracle to walk again.
Yes,
that's what cheating is. It's like a devastating car crash, and it's unnecessary. You know, and everybody gives up and says everybody does it. I understand how they feel, but you have to have a little salt, a little sprinkle of spiritualness, a little faith, a little invisibility, a little good, you know, a little goodness in your mind that nobody else sees. You have to see it. If you look at the fairy tales in life through the storybooks, it's always one person that sees the vision trying to explain to others, whether it's Cinderella or something good. You have to have that hope, and you just cannot give up. And you have to demand that your man will not cheat. Don't talk to him about it. Just be about it. The way you dress, the way you carry yourself.
Oh, I love that.
Fast.
Don't talk about it. Be about it. In other words, you need to be, not do.
And you have to control yourself and wait. You might feel bad. Your hormones might be raging, but you have to do whatever it takes to build that relationship. What I wrote in my book is, when you build a house, you build the foundation. You don't have sex in the foundation. You have sex in the house. That means when you get a relationship and you put the foundation, there should be no sexual pressure in your conversation until you have that relationship, you know, standardized. That's when you have the level of the house. That's when the house is built. You have the foundation that cannot be broken. Then you have sex in the house. When the house is built, then you put in the furniture. Then you put in the bed. You know.
Well, you build on it. That's what a whole foundation is. I want to go back to something that you just touched on briefly, and for all our listeners who are just joining us, we are talking to Charles Hughes. He is the author of How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat, and he's not trying to change men. He's just trying to give a lot of information that you can use that's very respectful. You talked about the way people dress. Now,
right.
This is a big one. Why is it that what women wear is important either to attract men or to keep men? I mean, shouldn't it just be that women wear whatever they want, whenever they want? I mean, like, you know, today I went on a walk. I threw on my sweats. I mean, it was a beautiful day. I didn't care how I looked. I just want to go out. Should I be allowed to just be who I am?
That is true. But that's 90% of society, and 90% of society gets cheated on. See, dressing normally is okay, but when you dress too revealing, you're sending out the wrong message because you're going to attract the... See, when you dress like that, there's a void in you that's needing something.
Okay, so you're talking about that not dressing. When we talk about dressing, you're saying when you dress too seductively, that's not a good thing. And I'm also asking, can you just, you know, do you have to always have... Do you think that women need to be made up and always look beautiful? Can't we just get back to being who we are? You know, you wake up, your hair's not pretty, your breath's not good, so you brush your teeth, you comb your hair. But we don't always have to look like we're getting ready to go out, right?
Right. The form-fitting things, that's for somebody you built a relationship. They have to earn that look and that revealing. They have to earn that. You just don't give it away too quickly. It's like taking out money in your wallet and flinging it in the street. People are going to grab it. But if you with somebody, you be with them, they're the one that have your heart and your finances, so to speak. You know? And I really want them to get the word out. All they have to do, you know, they just go order the book, authorhouse.com.
Yes, let's do that. Let's give the website, authorhouse.com.
Yes, so just type the title.
The name of the book is How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat, and the author is Charles Hughes. And is there any other way they should get the book, or is that the best way?
That's the best way. That's the best way.
Well, I really love it, Charles, that you are a man that is still chivalrous. I know that you open doors and you know you're caring, and I like that. I really think that we need that. We need to have people that are caring for one another. And so this really is a good book to help both men and women learn to spend a lot of time with each other, communicate with one another, and to really, truly communicate, and as you like to say, vertically, not just horizontally. So go to authorhouse.com, How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat. Author is Charles Hughes. Leave us with just one passing note, if you could. I mean, do you have a couple of last words you'd like to say that people can have a takeaway of, that they can make their relationships better?
Yes, not cheating doesn't make a person good. They're good so they don't cheat. See, anybody cannot cheat for a little while, but you have to carry on. It's like I said before, if you have a child singing in a play, to you they sound beautiful. You don't look at another child who might sound better and say, "Oh, you know what? They sound better. Let me go with that child. Let me adopt that child. Let that child be my child." You enjoy your child because it's you. When people are meeting, they are one. Marriage is not only a piece of paper. That just makes it legal. A ring makes it visual for others. But when you're married is when you have that unconditional feeling where no matter what you're feeling down below, you will keep your train on the track.
Ooh, that is very, very good. I think the bottom line is that what your book is advocating is to be loyal, to be honest, to be truthful, and have integrity. And the bottom line is you want to treat others the way you want to be treated yourself, and that's the only way to live in a relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Charles, for coming on and rearranging your schedule so that you could be here with us today. The book is How to Get a Man That Doesn't Cheat, the author Charles Hughes. Go to authorhouse.com and have a fabulous holiday with your family. Charles, I know that you will because you are a man that cares.
You too. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time, and we have to talk again.
Thank you, Charles. It's been a delight. Well, when we come back from break, we're going to continue this conversation because we are going to be talking to Ish Major with his book, Little White Lies, A Woman's Guide to the Lies Men Tell and Why. You don't want to miss this. We're trying to prep you for the new year so that you can have a great relationship. I am Cynthia Bryan. You are listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are. Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit with more.
The World Talk Radio Variety Channel. Apathy, violence, and negative messages are everyday occurrences in our country. You can be a changemaker when you dare to care by supporting Be the Star You Are charity, a 501c3 that empowers women, families, and youth through improved literacy, positive media, and tools for living. Visit www.bethestarur.org to find out how you can make a difference in our world. Everyone counts. That web address again is www.bethestarur.org. BeTheStarYouAre.org.
Is your sexual relationship satisfying? Do you have a nagging question about sex and you can't find the answer? Tune into Sex in Our Cities with hosts Donna Kane Francis and Robin Potter Kimball. Two advanced practice registered nurses are here to answer all of your questions about sex and relationships. Each issue will be presented in an objective, unbiased perspective designed to educate and empower you to make healthy decisions and bring about change in your life. Sex in Our Cities is broadcast live Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the World Talk Radio Variety Channel.
Are you wondering how to jumpstart your life while bringing more excitement and joy into every moment? Join the Goddess Gals, the mother-daughter dynamic duo, Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany, each week on radio's favorite power hour, Star Style, Be the Star You Are. You'll hear from the experts and authors that inspire and motivate you to be your greatest unique self. Plus, in Tea for Two, a mother-daughter brew, Cynthia and Heather tackle the topics and tips that make a difference. Listen every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on World Talk Radio, Studio A. the World Talk Radio Variety Channel, where the world comes to listen and talk. You're listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with hosts Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany. Be the Star You Are is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation to improve literacy and positive media. All contributions and donations are tax deductible. To comment on today's show, please call in toll-free at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. Or send an email to info@bethestaryouare.org. Now back to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, with the Oprah of the airwaves, Cynthia Bryan.
Be the star you are.
Well, we are here all together, being the stars that we are, and celebrated a wonderful holiday season here, and trying to get us on track to help us in our daily living, for our relationships and our lives in every single way. And we always bring you the experts here. Well, why are men cheaters? Why are men such dogs? I don't know why we get the bad ones from time to time, but Dr. Ish Major has written a wonderful small little book that we should all have on our shelves and read it. It's called Little White Lies, A Woman's Guide Through the Lies Men Tell and Why. Why do they tell these? Who knows? Well, Ish is with us now. Welcome, Dr. Major, to Be the Star You Are.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am great. And how are you? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, too, and thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, I am very excited about it. Well, we should give a little bit of background on you first so that people know that you are a board-certified adult psychiatrist, but you also specialize in children and families.
Yes.
And you have really been seen throughout your doctor career here, relationships in trouble. And one of the things that you see are the lies that people tell, that men tell to women, and why do we accept them? So you took the time to write Little White Lies, and I really love it because you just spell it out. It's like you just tell it as it is. So let's talk to us about what is the problem that we're having right now in America between men and women, and why are we faced with so many lies, and how can we solve this?
Well, I tell you what, the problem is twofold. The problem is lack of communication, number one, and it's getting worse and worse with the technology age. Now there are more conversations carried on over text message than in person on the phone, and so that's the first problem. The second problem is people sure do seem to be getting more and more selfish, don't they?
Oh, I really agree with you, Ish. It's like I think that people are spending more time on Facebook than face-to-face.
Absolutely.
And when you're texting somebody, you don't get the subtext. You don't get the backstory. You can't see their faces. You don't know. You can't hear their voices, so you don't know if they're making a joke or if they're serious.
You have no idea. And online, over text, I can be anybody I want. I can say and say things and convey things that I may not be as comfortable saying over, face-to-face. So it's totally different.
So we're really in a quandary now. So the solutions. How do we get into a relationship the right way, and how do we take it slowly?
Ah, you touched on the key word, and that's what a lot of folks are overlooking now. Everything is so instant gratification centralized now. You got to take it back to basics. You got to take it slow, and you got to start at the beginning by, number one, realizing what exactly it is you want out of that relationship.
Well, in your book, you talk about, and the book is Little White Lies, and it's by Dr. Ish Major, A Woman's Guide Through the Lies Men Tell and Why. You are very straightforward. You say it, like it's supposed to be said. Relationships are hard. We have to work at them.
Absolutely.
They don't come easy. But people just tend to get out, or they wander, or they decide that, they're going to tell a lie instead of tell the truth. Mm-hmm. This isn't okay. So how do we get around it? How do we change?
Well, the problem is, I think when we're in a relationship and we get to feeling like our needs are not being met, what happens is you get a lot of resentment. You get a lot of things that aren't said. And then instead of working with what you have there, we tend to give up on that and seek that fulfillment elsewhere because it just seems easier to do it that way than put the work into trying to right the ship that you're currently on.
Yeah, and, again, something that you bring out in your book is you have to know yourself, don't you?
Absolutely.
Before you can be in a relationship, you have to have a relationship with yourself.
Absolutely. That is absolutely critical. And not only know yourself, but you have to be comfortable with who you are. So comfortable, in fact.
Now you're touching on something that's a major hurt, a major owie, ouch for most people.
And you have to be so comfortable that you are able to share this with whoever you're with. There's nothing more delightful than the 80-year-old lady who can say and do everything she wants because she is totally comfortable with who she is at this point in life.
Yeah, it's like that poem Purple, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to, because I'm so old now, I can wear purple, I'm going to eat more ice cream, I'm going to do all this. Why don't we just do it all now? I mean, just be comfortable with who we are.
Well, because we want to be that person. Everybody has that image of who they want to be, and everybody wants to get. Relationships are so tough because everybody's got to have one, whether you admit it or not. We all have them in our lives, and it's so tough to get it right. But we all want so desperately to get it right.
Well, a large part of human communication is body language.
Absolutely.
And so we really need to pay attention. And in your book, Little White Whys, you talk about the warning signals that we tend to kind of brush under the rug. And women really, since you're writing this actually as a women's guide, we really need to listen to this because you are very straightforward. You are a man. You've got it going for yourself, and you can tell women, hey, this is what men want.
My mom always had a saying when we were younger growing up that people need to tell it like it is. So I felt that I needed to tell it like it is. Here's what a lot of women don't know, who I've seen in my practice and talked to in my research for the book. Guys are very, very nonverbal. Most of what we want to convey, we convey it through action, by doing, and a lot of that doing is also coming through body language. So there's a lot of really key signs you should pay attention to that really are telltale signs that a guy's lying to you. Any hesitation when he's saying things to you, any raising of the eyebrows like he's stunned at what you just asked him, any shuffling of the hands and feet. When a man is telling you something he wants you to really know and understand, he is making direct eye contact. He is very confrontational. He is standing firm in his ground. Anything less than that, and he's not being 100% honest with you.
Well, you have outlined your book in a very interesting way. You have red flag answers and white flag answers. And what it is that you pose a question, and then you offer answers, and the red flag answers would be the answers that a man would give to a woman's questions. And those are the ones, hey, women, get in your car and run as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
And the white flag they're acceptable. I mean, they may not be what you want to hear, but at least they're most likely the truth. Talk to us a little bit about the red flags and the white flags.
Well, the red flags are those things, like you said, as soon as in the middle of that red flag answer, get in your car and leave. It's one of those things like, do you love your mom? Or how do you feel about your mom? If he starts cursing at the asking of that question, well, here's what you got to understand. A guy who doesn't love his mom is going to have a tough time knowing how to please women. If he didn't grow up having those loving, warm feelings towards mom and liking to see that most important woman in his life happy, now that you're going to be that next important woman in his life, he's going to have a tough time understanding how and why to make you happy.
Well, and you said in your book here that one of the reasons you actually wrote your book here is because you have sisters.
Absolutely.
And you love your mom, you love your sisters, and you don't want to see them hurt. And what happens so often with these guys that hate their sisters or hate their family is that their wife becomes the next person that's battered in their life. So you're probably looking at a dangerous relationship.
Absolutely. And see, that goes to the heart of one of the more serious reasons, behind the book, because, relationships, some end well, some don't end so well. But then there are that select few that end in tragedy. And, it could be avoided if you pay attention to those warning signs early on. You need to ask that guy about his past relationships. If he has ever had any type of restraining order against him, any type of court order against him, any kind of legal issues, or he has a history of violence. Those are things you need to know, because this is something that it's a pattern of behavior, and 9 times out of 10, that pattern is going to continue, and you don't want to be there when it does.
Yeah, exactly, because the leopards don't change their spot.
Absolutely
now,
right.
What do you tell your patients, especially your women patients, who are oh, I can change him. Love can change everything.
You know, and that goes to the nature of how women and guys think. Women are nurturers. They're caring, you know, and they want to be that one. And the crux of that is, I know he may have done that with a lot of other people, but if I can be the one to change him, then that makes me special. And so that's why women are willing to seek it. And what I do
is you can't change anybody. You can only change yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's interesting. We all get in this. We all want to be that caregiver. We all want to be that person that's going to, you know, change somebody's life to the better. But the bottom line is, we don't have that power.
Absolutely. And that's what I tell them. I said, listen, the problem in relationships is that we don't have control over that other person. We can't control what they do. All we can do is look at their history and try to predict what their future is going to be. And I tell them all the time, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
And so it's very much like an investment, isn't it, where they say that, you know, you're not going to say that you can't, when you make an investment, you can't say that you're going to make a lot of money just because the past you did, but it is the best indicator.
It is definitely the best indicator. You're absolutely right.
Well, another one of the questions that I thought was important is if you ask a guy, do you have children, and he hesitates. You know, you've got to remember that if he hesitates at all or says that she's my mama's, with the baby mama or whatever it is, we can't fall with it, you know? We can't fall for these guys that are like, oh, it lives with their mom or whatever, because that's how they're going to be with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. All types of red flag answers there. Guys get very colorful and creative. Well, she said it was mine, but it wasn't. I don't think so. I don't see them, so no, I don't really have kids. Or, you know, my baby's mother won't let me see them, so no, I'm not really have kids. You know, a lot of different answers. And I would tell them, listen, anything less than an absolute yes or no, okay, he's lying to you.
He's
lying. It's a yes or no question.
Now, you can't get any simpler than that. A yes or no question, he's lying to you. Again, the book is Little White Whys, A Woman's Guide Through the Lies Men Tell and Why. Dr. Ish Major, who is a psychiatrist, he's in family practice, specializes in kids, but sees lots of relationship things. Obviously, he's got the answers here because you live it yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you catch yourself, you know, when you are in relationships? Do you have to, like, monitor yourself?
Oh, absolutely. It is tough. It is tough because the natural inclination, you know, and a lot of women don't believe this, but the natural inclination is for guys, we want to make you guys happy.
Right.
We want to please.
Yeah.
We want to be
you want
that
to be accepted, too.
Right. And
and you probably also want to get underneath the covers.
Oh, well, now that's the number one goal now, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like, okay, I've got something in those pants there. All right.
Absolutely. And guys, you know, we really hate to let you guys down because we want to be that guy, and so we hate to see that look of disappointment when we let you down, and so that makes us more inclined to lie. Now, does that mean it's coming from a good place? Not necessarily. We need to be honest to give you guys the choice, because what happens is when you're lying to somebody, you take their objectivity off the table. You take their ability to make a fair decision away.
This is something that's very important to me as a woman and to any woman that I know. No means no. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things, again, you have to be careful about who you're dealing with and the situations you put yourself in. You know, a guy who's got a history of kind of bending those boundaries and breaking those rules, 9 times out of 10 he's going to continue to do so. But if you didn't ask the questions, if you didn't ask around, you don't know anything about who his family or who his friends are and where this guy's coming from, then you could find yourself in a very dangerous situation that not only have consequences for maybe that night or the next week or month, but for a lifetime.
I wanted to ask you, Ish, how did you come up with these pop quizzes? Are these, because they're great. Throughout the book, Little White Whys, Women's Guide Through the Lies Men Tell and Why, Dr. Major has pop quizzes that we can take. And, you know, I think it's a great idea to record your answers and see how you do on it. But how did you come up with these pop quizzes? Is it from patients that you have seen that you've decided, wow, this is pretty prevalent, I better kind of put this out there as a warning? Absolutely.
From patients and from friends. I have a lot of female friends, and I tell you, some of the situations they've been in are just astounding when they start to tell you these stories. And, you know, I'm listening like, wow, did that really happen? But it happens so often, I felt I needed to put it down in print just to kind of get it out there.
Yeah. Well, because it's interesting when I read through the pop quizzes, it seems like some of the, you know, sometimes you go, okay, it could be this answer, it could be that answer, but the bottom line is that sometimes there really is only one real answer, so we really got to think it through. We got to think with our heads, not just with our hearts.
Absolutely. And what guys count on is that women are going to be thinking with their hearts.
Yes, and that we want to be nice and caring and give the benefit of the doubt, right?
Absolutely. You got it.
Yeah. So, all right. In kind of in summation, what do you think are the best tips that women can use to keep it, to keep it real, to keep guys on their toes? Well, what should they focus on? What should women be focusing on?
What guys, the women that guys find unforgettable are the women who have tons of self-respect and the women who are not willing to compromise what they want for the sake of being with someone. And so that means,
there you go.
Okay.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, is
right.
that there is no compromise.
There is no compromise because in the end, it's not going to make you happy. Okay? And if you're not happy, then that means the other person is usually not happy as well. And so be honest with yourself with what you want. Be honest with him with what it is you're looking for. Present your package, put it on the table, and then you both make a grown-up decision about whether you want to proceed or not, and you have a heck of a lot better chance of being happy down the road.
I love it. Well, the book is Little White Wise. The author is Dr. Ish Major. It's a woman's guide through the lies that men tell and why. Please visit the website littlewhitewise.com. That's littlewhitewise.com. As you can tell, it's filled with important information. Ish, this has just been fantastic.
Absolutely.
What great tips, and I love your book. I love the way you put it together. It really is very conclusive and realistic, and it just really offers a functional guide for people. So thank you for taking the time to write it. And we don't want lies. Let's have the truth. Why can't we have the truth, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on the show, Ish, and I wish you a very happy holiday season and a wonderful, wonderful New Year, and hopefully we'll get you back one of these days.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I love it. Happy holidays to you, too.
Thank you. You've been listening to Cynthia Bryan, and this is Star Style, Be the Star You Are. For more information about the charity, go to BeTheStarYouAre.org. It is getting towards the end of the year. Make a tax-deductible donation now. Why give it to Uncle Sam? Help literacy, help kids, help women. You've heard great authors today. BeTheStarYouAre.org. And I hope that you have a wonderful week celebrating with your family. We'll be back here for a New Year's celebration with you next week. And until then, go out into the world. Make it a great day, and remember, you are a star. Sparkle and shine. I'm Cynthia Bryan. Be the star you are. Happy holidays. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks again for listening to Star Style, Be the Star You Are. For more information about Be the Star You Are Nonprofit Corporation, please visit BeTheStarYouAre.org. That's BeTheStarYouAre.org. Join Cynthia Bryan and Heather Brittany again next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, here on the World Talk Radio Variety Channel. Remember, to be a leader, you must be a reader. Enjoy a stellar week.
You're a seeker, a dreamer with the courage to